So DNA groups are one of the ways that we make disciples at All People's Church. DNA groups are groups of 3 or 4 Christians who are committed to helping one another become like Jesus Christ. The Bible teaches that we need other Christians to tell us about Jesus and to tell us the gospel, to grow up into becoming like him. And other people need to hear from us, hear the gospel from our mouths as we invest in their lives to help them become like Jesus. And so DNA groups are groups of people who are committed to fighting for one another's joy, committed to fighting to helping each other become like Jesus. Now, how do they do that? Well, that's where DNA comes in. DNA stands for discover, nurture, act. So when these people come together to meet together to help one another, the first thing they do is discover. The most important thing people need to discover is God in his word. So when DNA groups come together, they get to share about what they saw who God was when they read the Bible that week, and share about how Jesus helps them. That's the most important thing they need to discover. Also another important thing they need to discover is one another's hearts. They want to hear from each other what successes they had as they believed the gospel and as it changed their lives. And they also want to hear, what ways did I fail? What ways did I sin and fall short? Because it's only when we discover how we're not believing the gospel, how we failed, that we can apply Jesus to those situations and help one another heal and grow. That's where nurture comes in, and this might be the most important step. Because after we've exposed ourselves, when other people have discovered what's in our heart, and sometimes, even in my heart, it's not very pretty, then we need to hear about Jesus and about how he heals and rescues us. And so that's where this step comes in, is that since we've listened to God carefully in his word, and since we've listened to our brother or sister carefully, we're able to take what we learned in the Bible and share it with our brother and sister about the gospel, about how it applies specifically to their situation. Not a vague, simple, inapplicable part of the gospel, but the gospel in a way that makes sense to that person in that situation. And the final step of DNA is act. When we share Jesus with each other, and when we know Jesus, he changes how we act. If we're not changing, if the gospel isn't changing us, then we're not really repenting and believing and applying it to our lives. And so the goal of these groups is transformation, whole person transformation from the heart to the outer person, and it happens in the context of community, of small groups of Christians committed to seeing one another become like Jesus.